Hey, guess what? Universal, they are currently working on dozens of new rides, attractions, and lands that will be coming to their parks in the following years. That's right, Universal, they have tons of new rides in the planning stage that are just waiting to be built. However, there is just one small problem. Universal, they aren't going to tell us what these rides are. Yeah, that's right. Universal, they have so many new attractions in the pipeline, but they're just going to keep us in the dark. Universal does not want us to know what these attractions are until maybe a year before they're opening. Sure, it's a little disappointing that Universal, they won't tell us anything about what they're doing in the future, but you know what? I'm fine with that. At least things are actually happening at Universal, even though they're opening their biggest expansion ever in only about 2 months' time. Universal, they are still willing to invest in their future, even if they have no obligation to. A brand new theme park would usually be enough to satisfy the general public for around 5 years, maybe 10. But Universal, they're not looking at Epic Universe as the end of their story. No, they're seeing Epic as a jumping off point, as a way for Universal to expand their brand, expand their parks, expand their consumer base. Universal is already well underway for their next big project, and the next, and the next, because they don't want to stop. They want to make sure they can have a new attraction or land at one of their parks every 3 to 4 years. Universal is a company that I don't see ever resting on their laurels. They never get complacent, unlike another company I know. A company like Disney, who will build a few rides every once in a while, or just reskin an existing ride which doesn't actually add any new capacity to the parks, and then just go off the grid for a while. Take a few years off, maybe wait a decade, and then when they absolutely have to, they'll finally build something new. Universal, they're not like that. They actually see Disney as competition. Universal wants to be a worthy competitor, so they will continuously invest year over year until eventually they overtake Disney's market share, and they become the dominant superpower of Orlando. And the best way to do this is to build more stuff. Give the public what they want. New rides, new lands. Give the public something new every single time they visit. Until, eventually, they're choosing to go to Universal more often than Disney. Now this is all good in theory, but how do I know that Universal, they're actually building dozens of new attractions, and I'm not just speaking out of my ass? Recently, in an Epic Universe promotional video, one of the speakers gave us a little hint to what Universal will be doing in the future, and I have to say, it's gotten me a little excited.
There are already so many things in the works now. We have a slate of new attractions that were already in development for every one of our parks. We're already planning for the next thing at Epic.
Okay, I understand that this could just be construed as tongue-in-cheek banter. Universal, they always have to say that they're working on future development. That's what keeps the investors happy. What, are they gonna come forward and tell us, yeah, Epic Universe is gonna be great, but in terms of our future, we're a little bit unsure? No, that would be terrible PR, but I'm inclined to believe that everything Universal is saying is true, because they haven't steered me wrong yet. And Universal, they're pretty consistent on getting a new attraction open at one of their parks every other year. For instance, even before Epic Universe in 2021, we got Velocicoaster 2019, Hagrid's 2017, Volcano Bay 2014, Diagon Alley 2010, Hogsmeade. You get the point. Universal, they're very reliable when it comes to new additions. And those are just the good rides. I didn't even mention all the shit that came in between these attractions, like Jimmy Fallon, Fast and Furious, or Minion Blast. These attractions were more filler, something that was supposed to hold you over for about a year before the actual worthwhile addition. Either way, the point I'm trying to get across is that Universal, they are consistent. Every few years, Universal, they try to build something new. So there's no doubt in my mind that Universal, they are currently working on dozens of new attractions. And I wish that we could get just a mere glimpse into what these attractions are. But unfortunately, that's never gonna happen, because Universal, they have a very particular strategy when it comes to announcing their new attractions. Universal, they try to withhold any and all information about their new rides as much as possible. Most of the time, we don't know anything about what Universal is building until the announcement date. And again, the announcement usually doesn't come out until a year before the opening. Universal, they're very secretive when it comes to their projects. They don't like to leave all their cards on the table. Universal, they can be building a ride for a couple years and it could be blatantly obvious what it is, but they will never acknowledge it. Do you guys remember when Universal was building Velocicoaster? We, the enthusiasts, knew that Universal was building a Jurassic World roller coaster. We were aware of the ride's existence since 2018, but the general public, they had no knowledge. Unless you knew about the construction permits for this project, you were likely kept in the dark about this ride. Heck, even when the coaster was fully erected and was almost completely finished, Universal, they didn't say a peep. They never acknowledged this coaster. Even on Twitter, they were trolling about this roller coaster's existence. They were joking about building a new churro stand and were completely gaslighting us about Velocicoaster. This was their way to build anticipation, and in 2020, they made the announcement. Velocicoaster would open in summer of 2021, opening in only 1 year's time. Universal, they are kings at marketing new attractions. Whenever Universal constructs a new project, they stay quiet. They try to give away as few details as possible, and then, when the time is right, they announce the project, and they announce an opening date, a date that is usually 1 year away. This strategy of withholding knowledge and waiting until the right time to release it is honestly brilliant, and I can't believe that a company like Disney hasn't figured this out yet. There is a reason why, whenever Universal debuts a worthwhile attraction, there's almost no disappointment. Whenever Universal debuts a new ride, I never hear any complaining or whining. But when Disney debuts a new ride, it's always a shit show. Because there is a reason to feel disappointed with a new Disney ride. Because Disney, they kind of suck at announcing stuff. Again, when Universal announces a new ride, it's always after the development and construction is almost complete. Disney, whenever they announce a new attraction, it's always the blue sky version. It's never the final product. Like, here's an example. Remember back in 2020 when Disney announced that they were going to retheme Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Back then, we got this concept art. Looks pretty good, right? Ooh, I love that boat at the top of the mountain. Okay, now what did we get in the end? We got this. Doesn't really look like the concept art, does it? Disney's habit of announcing stuff before they're even finalized is exhausting. And most of the time, a lot of projects that get announced by Disney get canceled before they even break ground. It's disappointing, and Universal, they don't do this. They don't give us blue sky concept art that eventually gets budget cut into oblivion. Like, what do you think would happen if Universal released the original version of Velocicoaster? Because I guarantee that this version we see today was not the first iteration. What if there was an original concept of Velocicoaster that was 50 feet taller, had more animatronics, had 2 Mosasaurus rolls? What do you think would have happened if Universal released that hypothetical iteration of Velocicoaster? It would probably make the actual Velocicoaster look kind of disappointing. Like, oh, what a shame. The original concept was better than what we got, boo-hoo. I know I would be somewhat upset. I mean, I was disappointed when Guardians got budget cut. That ride was supposed to have a lot more animatronics and a nicer looking exterior. However, none of these things happened. The ride doesn't feature a single animatronic. Not to mention, Guardians took over 5 years of construction. 5 years from concept art to opening day. And if I'm waiting 5 years for a new ride, I'm gonna have some high expectations, and I want everything to look as promised. I wish Disney would be more like Universal, and they would stop announcing everything in one go, especially when nothing is finalized. Oh cool, Disney is building a Villains Land. Oh, but we don't know anything about the rides. And construction won't start until, 2025. Yeah, right. Realistically, Villains Land won't be opening until, 2031. 2029 is too optimistic, Google AI search. I would prefer it if Disney just announces Villains Land and then 1 year later, it debuts. And another thing, Disney, stop announcing everything in one go because you have nothing planned for the next 5 years and you gotta give the public a little taste of what will eventually come in the future. It's lame, it's underwhelming. Why would I care about a project that won't open for half a decade? It would be better if Disney was like Universal and kept everything a secret, and they only release things when the time is right. And I also like how Universal is faster at building stuff. Seriously, why does everything Disney construct take 5+ years? Rides like Hagrid's only took 2 years to build. They demolished Dueling Dragons in 2017, and then in 2 years' time, they built a brand new roller coaster. A coaster like Guardians also started its construction in 2017, and it took until 2022 for it to open. And these two rides are arguably in the exact same league. They're both some of the most themed coasters ever constructed, yet Hagrid's took half the time to build. Universal, they got their new attraction lineup down to a science. They know what they want to build, they know when they're going to open each one of their projects, and they're constantly delivering new rides and new parks on a consistent basis. It's no wonder why a bunch of Imagineers from Disney are flocking over to Universal. They're growing and expanding at a rate way faster than Disney. In short, Universal, they're cooking, and I can't wait for their newest ride or newest land to debut after Epic Universe. And it's probably only going to take a few years. We already know that they're replacing Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit with an Intamin, and that there's a potential 6th land going to Epic. Simpsons might be replaced with Pokemon. Lost Continent might be rethemed to Zelda. Not too sure how I feel about that one though. And there's already rumors for a Dark Universe expansion. Again, Universal, they haven't confirmed any of this, but we know at least half of these rumors are happening. There are shovels in the ground, and all we have to do is wait for an announcement.